7 regular season games, but they were knocked out of the playoffs by the Nuggets for the second year in a row. Today, the Lakers fire head coach Darvin Ham, who spent just 2 years on the job. So who will take over? Here's ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
You could expect names like Mike Budenholzer, who won a championship in Milwaukee, perhaps the most accomplished coach available on the market. And certainly there will be other candidates.
Adrian Wojnarowski, a Game 6 doubleheader on ESPN tonight starting at 7 Eastern. The Cavaliers look for a series-clinching win on the road against the Magic. Then the Mavericks try to finish off the Clippers in Dallas. That game also here on ESPN Radio starting at 9 Eastern. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers will have no restrictions when the team starts OTAs later this month. Rodgers is coming back from a torn left Achilles. Caitlin Clark plays her first game as a pro in a preseason game tonight on the road when the Indiana Fever meet the Dallas Wings.
As humans, we like having options. One option you might like is speaking with a real person when you call about your credit card. With 24/7 live, U.S.-based customer service from Discover, everyone can talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Welcome in to a Friday edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. We're brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Jordan Kinchins and Paul O'Neill along for the ride here today. Glad you are as well. Of course, you know, we have plenty to get to over the next 3 hours or so, whether it's LSU football, whether it's the LSU baseball Tigers hosting the number 1 team in the country this weekend, Texas A&M. You know we'll get you set, locked and loaded for that series. And, of course, Saints news as well. Ben Mintz will be here for our college baseball picks a little bit later on. Saints undrafted rookie Rico Payton, defensive back, a cornerback, I should say, stopping by a little bit later in the show as well. That's going to be at 5:15. So, and we'll have a spring recap for the Vanderbilt Commodores. So we have plenty to get to over the next 3 hours. And, again, glad you're here with us to do it all. Let's get started. First segment of each show, of course, every day brought to you by Bud Light. We're going to start with LSU football. We're going to start with defensive tackle. We're going to start with transfer portal miss, and what could end up being misses by the end of the day. It certainly looks like it's going to be misses by the end of the day. So by now you know Damonic Williams, transfer defensive tackle from TCU, the top uncommitted defensive tackle in the transfer portal, is no longer the top uncommitted defensive tackle prospect in the transfer portal. He went to Oklahoma. That is a bit of a surprise. I think largely that was thought to be an LSU-Texas battle. Oklahoma got one of his first visits. I actually believe it was his first visit. Went over there for the spring game in Norman. Then took the trip to Texas, and that's when he shifted his whole schedule around, right? He was supposed to go to Colorado. He just canceled that visit, took the open weekend that time, and went to Missouri, then ended up on LSU. He was on LSU's campus this past Monday and Tuesday. And it was, like I said, thought largely to be an LSU-Texas battle. He chooses Oklahoma. So that's one. Well, everyone knew you were in on both of the top uncommitted guys, right? Damonic Williams and then Simeon Barrow, of course, out of Michigan State. While Simeon Barrow, at least at the time right now, has not officially committed anywhere, everything seems to be trending towards the Miami Hurricanes at this point, which is also a bit of a surprise, because when we had Shea Dixon on with us on Tuesday, Shea talked about Simeon Barrow, and actually Barrow was on his Miami visit when Shea was with us on Tuesday, and at least going into that visit, LSU looked like the team to beat. We talk all the time about teams getting a player's last visit, whether it's recruiting out of high school, whether it's recruiting out of the transfer portal. That last visit is massive. LSU got it for Damonic Williams, didn't pan out. Miami got it for Simeon Barrow. As of right now, it looks like that is going to pan out. I can tell you, Pete Nakos from On3 logged the expert prediction earlier. If you go to On3 and they're predicting, it's over 90% that Simeon Barrow will end up at Miami. So we'll wait until that officially goes through, until he officially makes his announcement. Haven't found a commitment time, but all signs point to him going to Miami. So that opens up a whole different can of worms now for LSU. You were in on those two guys. You felt good about your opportunity. And again, we'll wait and see with Simeon Barrow, but you felt good about your opportunity. And now you very well could come out of that 0-for-2. And it's not just that you felt good about, what you had to offer at LSU. There was the NIL component that they felt good about, all of those things. And it looks like you could come out 0-for-2. So where do you go from there? That's obviously the next question. And y'all, for LSU now, they're missing on those two guys, at least one of them potentially. And the reason I say that is it's slim now in the transfer portal at defensive tackle. I mean, LSU went all in with Barrow. They went all in with Williams. Do you double back CJ West? I mean, that's where we'll start. There's three guys I want to highlight. So we'll start with CJ West. Out of the three guys, he's the only one right now with an LSU offer. The only visits he's scheduled have been some Big Ten visits. But, I mean, everybody's been in on him, right? Indiana, Rutgers, Wisconsin, LSU, Texas A&M, Missouri, I think Florida State even. So it's been a bit of a who's who. But so far, no LSU visits scheduled there yet with CJ West. They offered him back in mid-April. So, I mean, you'd kind of be going back maybe a little bit hat in hand just because you were so focused on Barrow, so focused on Damonic Williams. When you look at the production, from a guy like West, obviously it's been good, right? 39 games. He's a guy who could step on campus and immediately, get playing time, immediately contribute for you there. You're looking at over 100 tackles in his college career in those 39 games, 7 sacks. He's been a great player for Kent State. Now, would it translate to the SEC? I don't know. Probably. There's plenty of guys that are there's plenty of schools, that are after him. There's plenty of schools that are after him from all different walks. We went through them. And then, of course, after that, or not after that, the question is it too late? Are you getting back into it and try to full court press too late? And that's a fair question to ask. But that's definitely an angle that LSU would probably pursue. Other than that, I'll go back to our interview with Shea Dixon on Tuesday. There were a couple of other guys because we asked Shea this very question, right? We asked him, hey, if LSU misses on one or both of Damonic Williams and Simeon Barrow, where do they go next? And Shea used the phrase, they'd need some luck, in a sense. And when he talked about other guys that you could potentially have, we'll throw those names out. One of them is a transfer from ULM, Aiden Huntington, who started his career actually also at Kent State, oddly enough, and then transferred to ULM for this past season in 2023, and he was really good. He's a bit undersized at 6'1", 281, but he was really good there. Started all 12 games, 63 tackles, 16 TFLs, 8.5 sacks. The production is good. He's quick. He's athletic. All of those things stand out. LSU has not offered him. He just entered the transfer portal on Tuesday. When we asked, or not when we asked Shea, when Shea talked about him, he said it was kind of early evaluation, process there for a guy like Huntington. But now it's kind of where you potentially might change. The other one that was mentioned on Tuesday is Terrell Allen. And he's from Tennessee State, was the Defensive Player of the Year at the FCS level, FCS All-American, had a great year. He entered the transfer portal. The interesting thing there is he played defensive end at Tennessee State. Now, he's a big end. He's 6'1", 275, so he's not far off from where a guy like Aiden Huntington, who we just mentioned, would be size-wise. But can he play defensive tackle in the SEC? I don't know. I mean, I would lean to, man, you're going to be asking a kid to take a major step up in competition if that is the way they go. And again, this is speculation. There's no offer been initiated there. It's just somebody who was brought up earlier in the week that we've talked about. So bringing back up here now when you're in the situation that you are, you'd be asking him to do a lot. That's a major step up in competition. It's a position change and all of that. So I would have him a little further down on my list. Let me be clear. I'd have him further down on my list. But, I mean, look, he was great. He had 28 TFLs last year at the FCS level and 14.5 sacks. Again, all coming from the defensive end position. So, I mean, those are the guys you're kind of looking at. What's paramount? LSU has to do something. Brian Kelly went on the record and talked about defensive tackle, as he put it, being the only position they were targeting in the transfer portal. Brian Kelly has gone on the record and talked about Jacoby and Guillory really taking a next step, specifically in stopping the run, but they are looking for that next guy. I mean, when you look at the depth chart, it's not a pretty picture for LSU. Jacoby and Guillory's played in 39 games. He's got 4 starts. He started the opener for you when Mason Smith was suspended last year. I think they feel good and comfortable with Jacoby and Guillory, and you should. But after that, it's Jalen Lee, who, yes, he's played in 32 games, but there's only 3 starts, and that's at LSU and Florida, and it's just been very sparingly. Sean Washington comes in, obviously, from Georgia, right, or from junior college, but signed with Georgia out of high school, out of Warren Easton. Good program. Obviously, Georgia is Georgia. You're a defensive player. You get, recruited and signed there. You've obviously got something going, but he played in 1 game at Georgia. What can you honestly get out of him? And to be quite frank, you didn't hear much about him in the spring. Gio Paez hasn't enrolled at LSU yet. I mean, he's the transfer from Wisconsin, starter there, played plenty, but feels probably more like a rotational guy. LSU was looking for a day 1 starter, and they missed on Damonic Williams. We'll wait and see with Simeon Barrow, but it doesn't look promising there. So where do you go? CJ West is going to be the first call, I would imagine. And then, do you look at guys like Aiden Huntington and Terrell Out? You have to do something, because if I described that right now after what has transpired for you in recruiting, I would say that is dire. It was already a big need for LSU. Now I would classify that as dire. We'll keep you updated on that throughout, of course, the rest of the show as we wait for the official word from Simeon Barrow where he will play his college football for his final year of eligibility. All signs point to Miami, but LSU, until the hat and the paper is signed, right? Until the hat's on the head and the paper is signed, figuratively, he won't sign a second national letter of intent, but you know what I mean? Anything can happen, especially in the NIL and transfer portal era. So we'll keep you up to date the rest of the way here on AFR. Right now, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. The Saints made an interesting roster move today dealing with Payton Turner. What does it mean for his future? What does it mean for the future of the defensive end position in New Orleans? We will talk about that as we roll on here on a Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries. Make sure you check them out online, on Facebook or on LinkedIn. It's Action Industries. And, of course, when you're at the box. Every single game, all year long, out at the box. If you see a mound visit, those mound visits all season long are brought to you by Action Industries. Action Industries is a great industrial contractor that served the petrochemical and refinery markets, all the plants up and down the river for 40 years, since 1982, going on 41 years now in business. And listen, there's 2 things that I've learned talking to Chuck and all the gang over there at Action Industries. Number 1, you do not get hired to work in those plants if you don't have an exemplary safety record. At Action Industries, their safety record beats the industry standard, and you don't get rehired if you don't do quality work. Well, Action Industries has been around for 40 years. Check them out online. It's Action Industries.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, go to firstsouthland.com. They're the best. First South Farm Credit. They've been in business since 1916. You've heard our buddy Ben McDonald talk about his experience. Ben's got some hunting property in Mississippi. Finance that land through First South Farm Credit. It doesn't matter if you live in Houma and you want to buy land in Mississippi, or if you live in Baton Rouge and you want to buy land in Zachary, if you live in Monroe and you want to buy land in Alexandria, or wherever it may be, in Louisiana or any of the 48 contiguous states, First South Farm Credit can help you buy land. That recreational property, maybe your hunting property, if it's the property to build your dream home, or if it's 1,000 acres for agriculture, First South Farm Credit should be your first call. Go to the website at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. One more time, firstsouthland.com.
All right, back here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso filling in for Moscona. Scone took a day. He's at Jazz Fest seeing Foo Fighters, so he'll be back on Monday, and we'll have plenty to recap, obviously, there. So Scone's back Monday, but you got me for the next, 2 hours and some change here on your Friday afternoon, and glad to have you along with us. If you're watching on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, do us a solid, smash the like button, get subscribed up to the channel as well. That's greatly appreciated. All right. The New Orleans Saints, because they can't go a day without making some type of news, today declined the fifth-year option for defensive end Payton Turner. Just when you hear me say that, you probably think that's not a surprise. And I would tell you, you're correct. It's not a surprise. But it's also not a surprise just for the reason that you're thinking, because immediately your thought is, well, he hasn't been productive. And correct. And we'll get to that. But also, it would have cost the Saints more than $13 million to exercise the 2025 fifth-year option for Payton Turner. And with the direction that the salary cap and the shape that the salary cap is for the New Orleans Saints, that's just not an option for them to do. So for that reason, it makes a lot of sense. Now, for the other reason, which is Payton Turner's career so far in New Orleans, yes, that makes a lot of sense, but it also raises a lot of questions, not only about his future with the franchise, but the defensive end position as a whole. Because when you look at the New Orleans Saints depth chart, like right now, as it stands, we're not going to count the undrafted rookies because they haven't even been through rookie minicamp yet. We'll see if any of them make the team, but right now we're not going to count those guys. So that leaves you with Carl Granderson, Tanoh Kpassagnon, Isaiah Foskey, Chase Young, Cam Jordan, Payton Turner, and Nico Lalos. That's 7 guys that we just went through. Of those 7 guys, 3 of them are under contract through 2025. 3. Carl Granderson, you obviously just signed him to the extension, so he's locked up. Cam Jordan's contract ends in 2025. You have him for 24 and 25. And then Isaiah Foskey's going into the second year of his rookie deal. So obviously, the third year would be 2025. That's it. You signed Chase Young to a 1-year deal, and he's coming off surgery. You don't know what you're going to get there. Tanoh Kpassagnon is in the final year of an extension for him. Nico Lalos is on a 1-year deal, and we just told you about Payton Turner. So that's kind of the overview. Let's step back a little bit now and look at Payton Turner, and then we can talk more about the need that edge rusher is going to be for the New Orleans Saints. So Payton Turner, obviously in his career, it has been a struggle. And not just a struggle to stay on the field, or excuse me, not just a struggle with production, but a struggle to stay on the field. And that's really where it all starts. And last year was probably the most disappointing of all because Payton Turner finally went through an offseason healthy. He didn't miss 1 practice in training camp, you might recall. And then immediately in the first game suffers the bad turf toe injury, has surgery, and you do not see him again until the regular season finale, which was ultimately the last game of the year for the Saints. In 3 seasons, he's played in 15 games and only given you 3 sacks and a total of 29 tackles. For a first-round pick, that's rough. Now, I think a lot of you, and myself included, see him and the 5th-year option not get picked up and immediately think, okay, he's done in New Orleans. Like, that's it. But when you go back and you look at the glaring need that edge rusher will be after the 2024 season, again, we just went through it. 3 of the 7 that are locked up for 24, only 3 out of the 7 are locked up for 25. If Payton Turner can stay healthy, finally stay on the field for a full season, like the most games he's played in his career is 8 in 1 year. 8. So if you can get length out of him, the guy was still a former first-round pick. The talent is still there. And you see production and he can earn a deal with the Saints, and it doesn't have to be long-term at that point. That's the options that this frees up for you too. I'm not saying to expect that. I'm not saying that that's something that is going to happen, but it's something that could happen. The market for him would not be, and I mean, unless he just is in fuego, right? And just, I mean, goes off for like 15 sacks or something. The market's not going to be a big one. So you could get him another 1-year prove-it deal. Okay, you did it then, 1-year prove-it deal, and you could lengthen out your room that way. So that's one option there. But I mean, I think as a whole, you look at the Saints edge rusher for 2025. And we talked earlier in the week, we were looking at way too early mock drafts and trying to, pinpoint the Saints' biggest need. And edge rusher was up there. Like, you saw plenty of the mocks we went through. You saw them select edge rusher for the Saints. And that's ultimately why. Because guys aren't locked up. Cam Jordan is getting old. You don't know what you're going to get out of Chase Young. Like, Chase Young could very well be in that same boat as Payton Turner. He's going to be coming off the surgery. Okay, if Chase Young is productive, then sure, maybe you look for a longer-term extension or something with him. He's still very young. We went over that when we talked about him being signed. The injury and the surgery threw a wrench in that. So, I mean, going forward, you look at the Saints at that position and you go, wow, of all the needs that they have, and they have plenty. Like, they have plenty. That's what happens when you have a team that's just perpetually dealing with the salary cap like they are, trying to dig out of a hole every year, and is an aging roster. You're going to have a lot of needs. You're going to have a lot of holes. Edge rusher actually might end up being the biggest of those, though. I would like to say this, though, with edge rusher. I'd like to, once again, just kind of commend Carl Granderson. And I would like to commend the Saints for locking him up one more time. We've been through this, but Carl Granderson had one of the more interesting paths. It took him a while. It felt like every year. Let me say it this way. It felt like every year, Carl Granderson at the end of the season just showed up. Like the durability, not really a problem. 15 games in 2020, 15 in 2021, 16 in 22, obviously 17 last year. But it was always sparingly, and then always at the end of the year, he'd go on some crazy run. Like 2022 is the perfect example. All 5.5 of his sacks came in like the last 6 weeks of the year or something like that. And it's like, okay, now can you build on that? Obviously he did in 2023, but the Saints could see the potential and they locked him up. They didn't let what happened with Trey Hendrickson happen with Carl Granderson. So you feel good about a guy in his late 20s being locked up there. So a giant hat tip. It's just where do you go from there? So what you need Payton Turner to look at the situation he's in and go, man, it's prove it year now or I'm free agent. And maybe he has a great year and decides to test free agency anyway. Or maybe you're able to lock him up on a team-friendly deal for at least another year or maybe 2, and you can solidify that position and hopefully he stays healthy. Maybe Chase Young is the guy he was for the 49ers and Commanders splitting time this year where he equaled his sack total from his rookie year while playing hurt. All of that. Maybe he gets better off of this surgery. Will he be ready for the start of the season? Who knows? But hopefully he's better and maybe you can lock him up a little bit after. But it's not a pretty picture when you look at defensive end for the Saints going forward after 2024. And hey, maybe you hit on one of these undrafted guys and they end up being, a franchise defensive end for you for the next 10 years or so. But the move to decline Payton Turner's option, not a surprising one. Makes a lot of sense financially and from what you've seen. But it does just shine a massive light on what is going to be a massive need for the Saints after the 2024 season, and that is the edge rusher position. All right. Let's grab a break. We will come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC. Still to come, we'll check in with Vanderbilt, the SEC spring recap here on After Further Review. Wrapping those up. Vandy and Kentucky are the only ones left. We'll probably hit Kentucky next week. Everybody in Kentucky's at the Derby. Like, we all know that, right? So we'll check in with Vanderbilt at the end of this hour. Around the SEC is next. It's Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel.
AFR.
Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil change, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
All right, back here on a Friday edition of AF4. Wrapping up the week here, man. It's been a really, really, really busy week. Recapping draft, obviously. You've had LSU baseball, transfer portal galore, and we've touched on a little bit of all of it already here. Still a little bit till we get to some LSU baseball. Have that earmarked at 4:15. Tigers welcoming in Texas A&M, obviously the number 1 team in the country. It's a massive weekend, and I have plenty of thoughts. It's not likely to go LSU's way, but it's baseball, and anything can happen. And I think there's a very clear matchup that defines this series. And we will get to that at 4:15. And it kind of goes both ways. I know that's not a great way to explain that, but it's not just so cut and dry as like LSU's got to shut down Texas A&M's offense. There's something there that I want to dive a little bit deeper into. And again, we will do that at 4:15. Right now, though, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news.
Very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
The Baton Rouge Studios.
Go back. Better. Okay. All right. Let's pivot real fast. We will come back to around the SEC. We'll come back to it. We got Chris Lee coming up for Vanderbilt to do a Vanderbilt spring recap here momentarily. One second. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. So we're going to go around the SEC here in a moment. We talked about, to start the show, the LSU's work in the transfer portal. Still looking for any official word from Simeon Barrow. Of course, again, that all signs there kind of point towards Miami. It's no official word yet, but we will come back to that. Do want to get to this real quick while I have a moment. It's May. We can kind of work some baseball in here. It's May. The draft is in a couple months. Did see a mock draft from MLB.com. Jonathan Mayo put this together, and it had a very big LSU flavor, as you might expect, but not necessarily from the current team. It was much more in the realm of signees. I'll run through this again real quickly. Hold on 1 second. I'll pull it up here. Here we go. Charlie Condon, no surprise, goes number one overall in the mock draft by Jonathan Mayo, and he absolutely should. The interesting thing was Tommy White. I think many expect him to be a high first round pick, and he wasn't in this mock draft, and that surprised me for a couple of reasons. I mean, obviously, I know the offensive numbers aren't what they have been, but he's not hitting in the same lineup. Like, Tommy White has still been very, very productive from an offensive standpoint. 17 homers. He's leading LSU in RBI. He's hitting well over 300. And I think there's enough good tape out there for Tommy White for teams to see. I mean, if they're letting that distract them there, that's a problem. And I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening, but he was 20th overall in this, and that did surprise me. There were, let's see, 4 third basemen in front of him if you count Charlie Condon, although people think he could switch to the outfield at the next level. But the thing that made it the most surprising to me was the defensive improvement you've seen from Tommy White. Like, I know I've said it. I think many other people have said it. That's something that you would think has made him money this year. And it just, I guess, necessarily hasn't. He's made numerous big league plays, like not routine, big league plays over at third base this year. And the glove has just been incredibly consistent. He's made one error. He's been awesome. So it's just one. To be fair, it's the first MLB mock draft that I've seen up to this point. There will obviously be more between now and the draft in July. I want to see where others have him, because what Tommy White has shown, you knew what the offense was. What he has shown is that he can stick at third base at the next level. Like, you remember that was such a big conversation about him coming out of NC State, transferring to LSU, was where was he going to play? And one of the big reasons he came to LSU is because Jay Johnson told him, you're going to play third base here, and we're going to make you into a third baseman. And they've done that. He's healthy. The defense has been awesome. So I thought 20 was really, really low. For what it's worth, the signees for LSU that went, there were 3 of them. The 3 that they are should not be a surprise. Connor Griffin was a top 10 pick in this. I mean, he's probably going to get 1-1 hype, or at least he would without Charlie Condon just being a complete eater of worlds. I don't think he's showing up on campus. That was always a long shot. Lefty pitcher Cam Caminetti also in the teens in this draft. Don't think he's showing up. And then William Schmidt, of course, from Catholic High. I mean, he's got the best breaking ball for a prep guy in the draft. And by the way, he throws 98, and he's just completely shoving over there at Catholic. He was the last pick in this mock draft at 30. So, look, LSU's got a great recruiting class coming in for 2024, class of 2024 and 2024 draft. They're going to have to battle for a lot of guys at the top of that class, and they're probably going to lose a lot of those battles. But the one thing Jay Johnson has shown is they've won plenty of those battles too. And it's a deep class. Like, it's a very deep class, not top heavy. So it's number 1 in the country for a reason, and they're going to lose some guys out of it, but it's still going to probably be number 1, number 2 in the country when it's all said and done. It's just that deep. But those 3 guys at the top already projected in the first round of this summer's upcoming Major League Baseball draft. So there you go. Just a little bit of a spiel. I was asked earlier by somebody, too, in the comments just on a Moose at the Box episode what I thought about Jared Jones. I think Bear's obviously gone after this year. Draft eligible sophomore. He's hitting right at 299, I think. 19 homers. He's been really good. He's taken a great step forward. You've seen better pitch recognition. The strikeout total's still a lot, but it's down about 10 percentage points than it was from last season. So I would expect him to have his name off the board easily within the first 3 rounds, maybe even the first 2 when you add in that comp round after the 2 comp rounds after round number 1. So that's obviously somebody I would not expect back as well. All right, we're going to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side. We'll pick up our SEC spring recaps. Chris Lee, VandySports.com. He is going to join us to tell us all the things you need to know about the Commodores. They are on the schedule for LSU, and it has been quite the interesting offseason over there in Nashville. So we'll talk to Chris Lee next about Vanderbilt on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
The SEC Spring Recap on After Further Review, the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Back here on a Friday edition of AFR. Continuing the SEC Spring Recaps, the Vanderbilt Commodores, they come to Baton Rouge on November 23rd in the 2024 season. Chris Lee, of course, covers Vandy for VandySports.com and on Twitter at Chris Lee70. Chris, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Chris, an interesting offseason. Obviously, this is going to be year 4 for Clark Lee. And I think when you look at Vanderbilt's offseason, the one thing that's consistent is change. There was plenty of it, whether it's guys entering the transfer portal or Clark Lee taking over the defense and all things that we'll get into. But Vanderbilt also had a pretty just interesting spring practice schedule because of the renovations to the stadium. Can you kind of update how their practice was impacted and structured because of that?
Well, I don't think it affected much other than the scrimmages because the field, they had it at Innsworth High School, which is a few minutes away. And so, you know, I don't know. I mean, they do most of their work on their 2 practice fields anyway, and that didn't really affect much because that's what they've done for years. They'll have an indoor practice facility there. Eventually, that's not there yet. But in terms of that part of it, unless they were having scrimmages, it didn't affect most of it.
All righty, let's move to on the field now. And look, all 3 quarterbacks who attempted to pass at Vanderbilt transferred out. Obviously, A.J. Swan ended up at LSU. I know they have a few guys in for the spring. They have more they're going to bring in, obviously, after the summer enrollee. How'd that competition go? Who is actually in line to play quarterback for Vanderbilt in 2024?
Well, if you ended it on the spring, it'd be Nate Johnson, who played at Utah. If you follow the SEC, you might have seen him when they played Florida last year. He scored a rushing touchdown. When Utah beat Florida, he's a 10,500-meter guy out of high school, but he wasn't the start at Utah because of issues throwing the ball. Some of those carried over to the spring at Vanderbilt, but he was probably the best they had. Now, is he going to be the guy? My guess is he's not. Diego Pavia is transferring in from New Mexico State. Again, if you follow the SEC, you know that name because he beat Auburn last year in a big upset when New Mexico State went there. So I would expect he's going to be their starter given past experience. And also given that his offensive coordinator, Tim Beck, is now the offensive coordinator at Vandy, and Jerry Kill, who was his head coach last year, is a senior offensive analyst. So I think that New Mexico State migration will have a heavy influence on who wins the job, but that won't play out until August.
How has the transition with Tim Beck joining staff gone?
It's been light years different. So they decided, and speaking of the quarterback turnover, here's kind of how it happened. They had thought they were going to build everything based on developmental stuff, that they were going to recruit kids out of high school and develop them and win with fourth and fifth year seniors. Well, no sooner had Clark Lee gotten there than all hell broke loose with the transfer portal, and you guys know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And he discovered they couldn't win that way. Their NIL wasn't up to snuff with everybody else's, and if they developed kids, then they just went somewhere else. And so that's the reality that kind of stuck them last season. I think at first they thought, hey, we won a couple games 2 years ago. We upset Florida and upset Kentucky. But when that went into 0-8 in the SEC last year and getting beat at UNLV, they said this isn't working for us. What did work for them was Mike Wright, who was a running quarterback who led them to 2 wins a couple of years ago. They decided, hey, if we're going to beat people like that, we're probably going to need to shorten the game and need a quarterback who can get third and 8 and not necessarily with his arm. That explains the direction they've gone with mobile quarterbacks. Jerry Kill and Tim Beck had a lot to do with that. And so I think that's the foundation going forward, is that and using the portal much more aggressively than they were using before to fill other holes.
What about on the defensive side of the ball, Chris? Because I know Clark Lee is obviously taking over play calling duties there. I mean, obviously his forte, but has that been a smooth transition as well?
I think so. I mean, it's probably something he should have done a year ago, but again, that hits him like a bucket of cold water. The changes that they figured out they needed to make, they didn't really figure out to the offseason. And so I think one of those was knowing that Clark Lee was best suited to run the defense. He's got a lot of success from his track record at Notre Dame. I think they've improved their talent in the portal really across all 3 phases. They'll have a couple of starting defensive backs who they got in the portal. Linebacker may be the one spot they didn't improve in the portal, but they got a couple defensive linemen who had productive seasons elsewhere from the portal. That'll help their depth and help keep them fresh. And I think it wasn't just Clark Lee taking over, but it was the change in philosophy and knowing, hey, we've got to go out and plug some holes, especially defensive back where they were just awful a year ago.
Talking with Chris Lee, covers the Vanderbilt Commodores, vandysports.com. He's on Twitter at ChrisLee70. Chris, what would you say is the biggest remaining need for Vanderbilt still to plug out of the transfer portal? I mean, I saw earlier, I believe it was 25 players transferred out. What would you say is the biggest remaining need?
Man, that's a tough question because I can't name you a position group where they would probably rank top half of the SEC and maybe not top 2/3 of the SEC. I think they really need offensive linemen. They're maybe about to get the tackle from Liberty, the left tackle, who's played with their offensive line coach before. I think they need at least another one of those there, maybe to plug in the starting role. I'm a little surprised they haven't done anything at running back. That's a need, I think, but they've got some younger kids and maybe one of those pops. They definitely could use another receiver. They lost a lot of kids in the portal. But they could always use defensive help. I mean, I don't know what I haven't named there, maybe other than quarterback, presuming Pavia is the guy that they think he can be.
Vandy, they will travel to Baton Rouge on November 23rd here in the 2024 season. Chris Lee giving us our spring recap there of the Vanderbilt Commodores. Again, follow him on Twitter at ChrisLee70. And you can read stuff all obviously over there at vandysports.com. Chris, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Tigers indoors, November the 23rd here in Baton Rouge. It's interesting, man. That's always I think everybody can look at it and just be like, oh, it's Vanderbilt. But I find them intriguing just because they're challenged with the same challenges that every other program is. But the thing they have hanging over them is what we kind of just said. Oh, it's Vanderbilt, right? I mean, 25 players going in. Look, they were 2-10. You probably need some type of overload. You bring in a new offensive coordinator. Clark Lee takes over the defensive play calling duties. But it's just it's so hard to win there. And I think when you see what Clark Lee did in his second year, going to 5-7, and Chris mentioned it there, with the win over Arkansas, the win over Florida, the upsets that they were able to pull. It just shows you how difficult it kind of is to replicate. So they are intriguing for that reason, because they've had so much turnover, and they'll have so many new faces. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Vandy's going to a bowl or anything like that, but they could have some real fight to them just because of what do you have to lose type deal, in a sense. So they're always intriguing. I at least find Vanderbilt always a little intriguing. All right, hour 2, Sports Center, and then we'll talk some NFC in the NFL draft next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
I'm Doug Brown. After playoff series losses to the Nuggets in his 2 seasons on the job, the Lakers fire head coach Darvin Ham today. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
I don't think this was a LeBron James decision or issue. Now, listen, any star player with any organization can speak up and say, hey, this is the coach I want. I want him to be here. That's true, not just with the Lakers, but anywhere.
Adrian Wojnarowski. Last year, the Lakers were swept by the Nuggets in the conference finals. Monday, they were knocked out in the first round in 5 games. Starting at 7 Eastern on ESPN, an NBA playoff doubleheader. First up, the Cavaliers and Magic. Orlando hoping to force Game 7. Then the Clippers and Mavericks, with the Clippers hoping to push that series to the limit. That game also on ESPN Radio starting at 9 Eastern. Clemson center P.J. Hall is entering the NBA draft. He led the Tigers to the Elite Eight with 18 points a game this season. And the Dolphins will sign wideout Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year deal.
As humans, we like having options. One option you might like is speaking with a real person when you call about your credit card. With 24/7 live, U.S.-based customer service from Discover, everyone can talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
From Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And welcome in, hour number 2 of After Further Review. Here on a Friday, Musso in for Moscona. We're presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, Jordan Kitchens, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. And glad you are. 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go. Still got to get you some thoughts on LSU and Texas A&M. We will do that in the next segment. And we have a Saints undrafted rookie, Rico Payton, joining us in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We've been catching up with a lot of those guys here throughout the week. I mean, we had Sincere Haynesworth yesterday. Trajan Jeffcoat joined us as well. And we have a few more actually coming up next week as well. So it's been great to hear from those guys, and we'll chat with Rico Payton a little bit later on in the show and kind of, gauge his excitement level, just all around vibes about playing in New Orleans. Looking forward to it. Speaking of the New Orleans Saints, we've done a lot of draft here, obviously this week, recapping a massive haul. The one thing we haven't really done is focus in on the NFC South and how the Buccaneers, how the Falcons, how the Panthers did with their drafts. Because, look, the NFC South, if we're being quite honest, is an atrocious division in the NFL. It's really bad. It is up for grabs. Like, you can have whoever you think is the favorite, and many think that's the Atlanta Falcons. They, went ahead with Kirk Cousins, the veteran quarterback. They look a lot like the Saints did last year when they signed Derek Carr, and everyone assumed the Saints would be the favorite to win the NFC South. The Saints should be the winner of the NFC South. They were the betting favorite, and, well, you know how that turned out. Now, look, you can say the Falcons are probably maybe in a little bit better position, but I can also look at that and be like, man, they did not address a lot of holes on their defense. Instead, they took a quarterback with the 8th overall pick. And I don't really know if it's just that cut and dry that, the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, they're going to win the NFC South. Because, again, you saw it with the Saints last year with Derek Carr, and it wasn't. So we had kind of planned on doing this earlier in the week, never got to it, so I thought we could do it right now. Kind of go through and grade the drafts for the rest of the NFC South. Let's start with your betting favorites, the Atlanta Falcons, because they're also probably the most intriguing, taking Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 overall after committing $180 million, $100 million of that guaranteed to Kirk Cousins. So, look, my take on that is not any different than anyone else's, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I was as floored by the pick as all of you. I also laughed very hard, like all of you, when they made that pick. And I think for the next 30 minutes solid on our draft show from Don Juan, we just made fun of the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, it was very confusing. You took a guy who'd been oft injured, obviously throughout his career in college. He's 24 years old. You just paid Kirk Cousins. It didn't make a lot of sense when you had all those needs on defense. Now, when you go to the round 2 selection, I like it a lot. I mean, if y'all listen to AFR, you know that. I mean, anytime we talked about defensive tackle in this draft and Matt would ask for input, I would always bring up Ruke Orororo from Clemson. And not just because his name is incredibly fun to say, but his name is incredibly fun to say. You look at Clemson, when they went on their run, when Dabo had that thing humming, they just consistently put defensive linemen into the league. Look at Brian Brzee with the New Orleans Saints. That worked out pretty well in his rookie year. So I look at Orororo and I say, man, that's a really good guy to have in run defense. It's one reason I liked him and wanted the Saints to potentially move up and draft him at some point. So, I mean, I like that pick actually an awful lot for the Falcons. Then you go to round 3, you see Braylon Trice, outside linebacker from Washington. Like, they didn't address the defense in the first round, but they did really. The next 4 picks were all defenders. Trice from Washington, a defense that helped, lead the Huskies to a national championship game appearance. He graded out per Next Gen Stats, like NFL Next Gen Stats, as the top linebacker at the Combine. Now, he didn't run the 40. You would like him, a 4.72. He's a little slow, especially for an NFL linebacker, but everything else graded out top of the linebacker class at the Combine, with, their little Combine score that they get, production, athleticism, combine it. So, I mean, I don't know how you look at that and don't say, okay, there's some potential there. Again, slow, but there's some potential there. After that, there's really one other pick that I liked for the Falcons, and it was Jace McClellan, the running back out of Alabama. I think he's a very underrated prospect. Now, obviously, look, they have Bijan Robinson. Like, he's not going to go in there and start, but you get a guy like Jace McClellan in the 6th round who made plays at Alabama, very athletic guy. I can look at that and go, that's a good flyer to take on somebody. That's good value. If I'm going to grade the Atlanta Falcons draft, the Penix pick being what it is, I like the Orororo pick. I like the Braylon Trice pick. They got a defensive lineman from Oregon in the 4th round. See if he blossoms into anything, and another linebacker out of Notre Dame in the 5th round. But man, once you really get through those 3 rounds, you're kind of taking flyers on guys. So looking at that, I will go D+ for the Atlanta Falcons. I know a lot of people have been really harsh on them, but I mean, the Penix pick is one reason why. And it just is, it is very confusing. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers. Interesting for the Panthers. I loved their first 2 picks a lot. Xavier Legette in the 1st round. Man, a lot of people had him early 2nd round. The Panthers obviously liked him, traded back up to get there and take him. He's interesting. I mean, he's a blazer, man. Just incredible speed, a sub 4.40. And that was at over 220 pounds. He weighed in at the Combine. Like, that's freakish, y'all. That is a big-bodied guy who can run. And receiver was a big problem for the Carolina Panthers last year. I mean, DJ Chark had a rough season. That was tough to see here. Adam Thielen was good, but he paced them. He wasn't great. He's clearly not the same Adam Thielen that he was. He went right over 1,000 yards, and then Chark was next at just over 500. Terrace Marshall has kind of struggled to come along there as well with the Falcons, and even Jonathan Mingo, I don't think really blossomed to what they thought they could have there. So they had to address wide receiver, and they did. And I love the pick of Xavier Legette. The interesting thing is he's got all the athletic ability, all the talent. The production lacked in college until his last year at South Carolina. Has he kind of figured it out and what he can, the step he can take going forward. I loved their 2nd round pick of Jonathan Brooks. I loved this pick. You talk about an underrated running back. Big fan. Now, look, he's coming off the ACL. I get it, but he's a guy who can run between the tackles. He's a guy who can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Will he be ready coming off the ACL for the start of training camp? I don't know. It's not maybe a pick that you might see in the immediacy, but I think down the line, you're going to see Jonathan Brooks actually do good things in a Carolina Panthers uniform, which is not great for the New Orleans Saints. But I liked that pick an awful lot. Their 4th round pick, like when I look at the Panthers draft, I see a lot of value. It's not maybe, like we said with Brooks, immediate, but you got guys here, man, that could end up being really good players. Maybe not in Carolina, but somewhere down the road, they're going to stick in the NFL. and you could probably be like, man, that was actually a really good pick back in 2024. Jatavion Sanders is a tight end out of Texas that they took in round 4. And outside of Brock Bowers, he was largely looked at as one of the top, if not tight end 2, tight end 3 in the draft. So to get him in the 4th round seems like a great value pick. Like, they went and got Bryce Young weapons, whether it's Xavier Legette or Jatavion Sanders, a great pass-catching tight end. Went over 600 yards the last 2 seasons at Texas. That's a guy that can come in and be a weapon. And in the 4th round, I think that's great value. The interesting thing is the biggest need was probably cornerback, and they did not address that until round 5 with Shaw Smith-Wade. J.C. Horn has obviously been oft injured for the Carolina Panthers. So you need something there. Dante Jackson, of course, you know what happens with him. So you go with Shaw Wade Smith. Surprising that they went so heavy offensive. And when they did take a defensive guy early, it was a linebacker out of Kentucky. But we'll see how that goes. That's kind of the one black eye and really kind of drags the grade that I'll give them down for me a little bit. And then the other value pick I loved was Jaden Crumedy, the defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. Like, that's a name you know from the SEC. He had plenty of success. So to get a guy like that in round 6, okay. Like, that's what I mean. Like, couldn't you see, and maybe it's not for the Panthers, but couldn't you see 4, 5 years, 6 years down the road, Jaden Crumedy just still doing it in the NFL and going, man, that's a really good draft pick. You hope it's not for the Panthers. It probably could be somebody, but he's got staying power. In the 7th round, they took a linebacker from Michigan. Yeah, take anybody from the Michigan defense. They were awesome. I will go B- for the Carolina Panthers. I like the value. Maybe I'm overvaluing the value, but I liked the value. I think they actually did some good things. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a sneaky good draft. Graham Barton, the center out of Duke with round 1. He's going to project as a center in the NFL. He played some left tackle out of necessity for the Blue Devils in his final year. But look, Ryan Jensen, it's been tough for him injury-wise. The Buccaneers needed to address offensive line. They needed to address the center position, and they did there. Graham Barton feels like a great pick. Getting Chris Braswell in round 2 out of Alabama is awesome. Like, y'all, Braswell, I know everyone looks at Will Anderson. Everybody looks at Dallas Turner. Braswell was incredibly consistent behind those 2 guys for 3 years. And then he led the SEC with 56 pressures. Like, opposite Dallas Turner, you can say, okay, everyone's committing to Turner, and it's going to free him up a little bit more. And sure, but for him to be able to execute that, and then he had a great week at the Senior Bowl as well. I think that's a great pick in the 2nd round there. And then how about this? Jalen McMillan in round 3. He dealt with some injury in 2023 at Washington, but in 2022, he was the leading receiver on that team, not Rome Odunze. You're going to get a guy like that in round 3. That's the definition of a value pick. So as much as it pains me to admit it, that's a great pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, provided he's healthy and ready to go and all of that. But it could be kind of similar to what we talked about with the Panthers. Maybe it's not immediate, but down the line, you're like, oh, man, yeah, the Jalen McMillan pick. And then they take Taliese Smith also in the 3rd round out of Georgia as safety. Kind of the same thing with Michigan's defense. Georgia's defense is awesome. If you're going to take a defensive player out of Georgia, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anyone who's against that. Kirby Smart just has that thing humming at a level that's, kind of unheard of defensively. Well, not unheard of. He did the same thing in Alabama. But you get what I mean in that. Sure, all for it. And then, you go down the list and you get into kind of them, taking some flyers. But the Barton pick addressed a huge need. I think Braswell is going to be really good off the edge. And I think McMillan could be an absolute steal at the wide receiver position for Tampa Bay. I will go B+ for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in the draft. And you know what? We kind of started this segment talking about odds in the NFC South and who could be the winner. And when you looked at last year, it was the Saints. The Saints are going to win the NFC South. They got the veteran quarterback they need in Derek Carr. They still have a good defense. Well, you know what happened. And who was the team that snuck up and did it? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. I think the Buccaneers got better in the draft. Everyone's looking at the Falcons. Don't be surprised if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield sneak up and win the division yet again. Like, I like the picks that they made. I hope they don't. I hope the Saints win the NFC South. But I'm not very optimistic about that either. All right. We're going to grab a break. Come back. Switch gears to LSU baseball. The Tigers host the number 1 team in the country, Texas A&M. I think the key to this series is clear, and we'll talk about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know where to find them. GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com. Proud to announce the newest member of the G team, Dominic McKinley, Tiger defensive lineman, 5-star from Acadiana, has joined up on the G team, and we're going to be lucky enough to have Dominic McKinley in studio with us soon, so we look forward to that. Also, Anissa Morrow, member of the Tigers women's basketball team, just did a sit-down with Gordon as part of the G team, so if you want to go check out that interview, it's up on social media at all the different platforms. Point is, Gordon's done a great job engaging in NIL with so many athletes, both male and female, across different sports and different universities, and giving them great opportunities and exposure. We're proud to tell those stories as well here. And if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Go to GetGordon.com, GetGordon.com, GetGordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Mold Zero, now pure restoration. Same patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you got mold, think you might have mold, not sure if you have mold, mold can be in your walls. You don't even know about it. Pure restoration comes in. You don't have to worry about moving furniture, pulling up carpet, any of that sort of stuff. They come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Your home, office building, commercial building, whatever it may be, they're going to be more efficient. than traditional remediation. It's going to cost you less as well. I love telling this story. There was an elderly woman who's a homeowner, had black mold on her ceiling, and she couldn't get a quote from anywhere that was less than $28,000. This was an elderly widow. Mold Zero came in, got rid of the mold for less than $5,000. Mold Zero is now pure restoration. Same company, same great patented non-toxic dry fog. They're general contractors, so they can do demolition and build back when you need it. They can take care of odor, sanitization. It's pure restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com.
Back here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso filling in for Moscona. Scone's back on Monday here with you. LSU, they welcome in Texas A&M for a 3-game set at the Box beginning tonight. First pitch, 7 p.m. The weather is out of here. Looks like it will be a great night for baseball. Y'all get out there. I'm jetting right over there, of course, after the show ends. Looking forward to it. This is a massive weekend for LSU. Like, you cannot overstate that. It's a massive weekend for any type of postseason opportunity. You can go back and forth and debate if they need to win one, if they need to win two. I don't really care. I've been through it a lot on Musso at the Box. I've been through it earlier this week, filling in for Matt, where I think LSU stands and what I still think they need to do to reach the postseason. And the reason I say you can go back and forth and debate if they need to win one this weekend, if they need to win two, whatever, this is what actually matters. LSU, I don't believe, is getting to 13 conference wins in the regular season. So you're going to have to do something in the SEC tournament. Win one, win two this weekend. The one thing you cannot do that everyone will agree is get swept on your home field. That can't happen. If that happens, that changes things so dramatically for this team when it comes to postseason. Like, regardless, they're going to have to make some type of hay in the SEC tournament. Now, I look at LSU this weekend, and I see a team that is playing better baseball. They are. Like, you can talk about how much better, and we can have that conversation. You could talk about if it's sustainable against a higher level of competition, and we can have that conversation. The one thing that is not debatable is they are playing better baseball, and it starts on the mound. That's why LSU is playing better baseball. And that should not surprise anybody, because that's what we thought would be the strength of this team going into the regular season. Way back in January, hell, way back in December, whenever we mentioned it, we talked about pitching being the strength of this team, and early on it wasn't. It let you down, and that was a big reason why you struggled early in conference play. We could talk about them not getting the big hit, and that is absolutely part of it. But the thing is, you're still not necessarily getting the big hit, at least not consistently enough. And at this point, that's who you are offensively. And I'm as shocked as anybody as that. But that's who you are offensively at this point. The emergence of Ashton Larson has been great. Stephen Milam has been very consistent all year. We talked earlier in the show about the jump that Bear Jones has made. Tommy White has been Tommy White. Like, there have been bright spots. Michael Braswell has been a pleasant surprise offensively. I can remember at the beginning of the year saying, if he hits 280, that guy can play shortstop for me every day. He's hitting 313. He's been awesome. But you've just lacked situational and timely hitting, and you've lacked being able to move the offense so much so that, they're trying to force things into motion. You just are who you are there. LSU's not going to be a great offensive team this year. That's fine. And you can look at a weekend like this and go, that's a problem. And I would say, you're right. That is. But remember why LSU is playing better baseball. LSU is playing better baseball because they are pitching better. So when I look at Texas A&M, a team that is 39-6, 15-6 in the league, is second in offense in this league only to Tennessee statistically. And you could argue all day about which of those offenses is actually better. Pitching's going to be massive. But it's a certain kind of pitching. It's LSU's bullpen. I think Gage Jump and Luke Holman are going to pitch very well this weekend. Like, you could not ask for Gage Jump to be going any better than he is right now heading into the biggest start of his college career. Because that's what this is tonight. Make no mistake about it. This is the biggest start of Gage Jump's college career. Plain and simple. Guy threw 14 innings as a freshman at UCLA, blows out, misses an entire year, and now here he is, facing the number one team in the country at Alex Box Stadium when his team is fighting for postseason life. And he is coming off of 14 innings where he's allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, and struck out 20. He's been awesome. And you can ask about competition, and I will look you flat in the face and say, I don't care. Because if it doesn't matter who he's pitched against, if he's throwing like that, commanding the off speed, commanding the breaking ball with the low to mid 90s fastball, he's going to have success. And Auburn's a good lineup. They're not great. They're not A&M, but they're a good lineup. And the thing that encourages me most about Jump is the 1 walk. I've talked all year on Musso at the Box about his walk total, and it would take time, right? He missed a whole year, and it only had 14 innings in college. It was going to take time for him to get command. He looks like he has it. He's going to need that. But I expect him to pitch well. Like, largely this year, LSU starting pitching has been good. At least 2 out of the 3. Largely throughout the year. Jump had a few hiccups in there, but he was really good against Florida. Ended up into the 6th inning that night. He started out well against Arkansas, and the wheels just kind of fell off. So, largely starting pitching's been fine. I expect him to do well. Luke Holman. Luke Holman has been your most consistent arm all year. He's been much better at home than he has been on the road. I don't think that's debatable at this point. He battled really hard on the road at Mississippi State, battled really hard on the road at Arkansas, but he had 2 massive black eyes in those starts. 10 hits against State, 5 walks, and 5 leadoff guys reaching against Arkansas. We know what the Missouri start was. But he's been awesome at home. So I expect him to pitch well again. LSU's bullpen is the key. And it's a guy like Christian Little, who seems to have finally kind of found this. Gage Jump, Holman, they get you off to a good start. You're in the game when they leave. You turn it over to the bullpen. A guy like Christian, you know what you're going to get from Griffin Herring. And if LSU has a lead late Friday night, late Saturday, whatever, they're going to Griffin Herring and trying to close it out. And it's absolutely what they should do. And then a guy like Christian Little comes into play, where you look at his last 7 innings, shutout ball. Jay Johnson talked about the pitch mix being better with Little. Jay Johnson, just talked about the attitude and everything staying consistent with Christian Little, and he said he was pitching his best that he has in college baseball right now. It's hard to argue with. Can he keep it going now against arguably the best offense LSU has seen up to this point? And I say arguably because I have just incredible respect for the lineup that Tennessee has, and you played them in that ballpark. So a guy like Little is going to be massively key. He looks great. Can he keep going? If he does, that's a step towards LSU stealing the series. A step. Justin Lohr, same thing. Justin Lohr struggled this year. There's no 2 ways around it. He came in a highly touted transfer. He has struggled. But he looked real good in his last outing. And it was in a spot where LSU needed him to look real good, where they're trailing Auburn and they need to stay in the baseball game. Can he build on that? Can he, like Thatcher Hurd did at the end of last season, emerge as that transfer who it just took him a while to get acclimated, and now he's got it? This will be a great step, but he's a key guy this weekend. Fidel Ulloa. Jay Johnson said after the game against Grambling that you would see Fidel Ulloa this weekend. The thing that I took most encouraging from him against Grambling in a game that was just incredibly to take anything away from because it was just hideous, his velocity was back to 95, 96 consistently, and he still had the slider. When you saw Fidel Ulloa in the preseason, when you saw him early in the pre-conference, he was 95, 96 with the wipeout slider. When you got into conference play and he only pitched twice, he was like 90 to 93, and he just didn't play the same. Has he found it again? Because if he has, that's a guy they were putting in leverage spots earlier in the year. That's a step, if he is, to stealing this series, to keeping this A&M lineup held down as much as you can, because you're not going to hold them down. On Musso at the Box, I likened them a lot to LSU's lineup last year. Like, you're not shutting out Texas A&M. They're going to get theirs eventually. How much can you limit them? And I think a lot of it falls on LSU's bullpen. The last guy I'll mention is Sam Dutton. And if you listen to Musso at the Box, you know my affinity for Sam Dutton. It maddens me that he has not gotten more innings than he has. The kid throws strikes. The stuff is ticked up. The cutter that he's added has been filthy. And they've used him in leverage spots, and he's done nothing but produce. So one more time, I'm looking for an increased role from Sam Dutton. But that is the series-defining key to this for me. Not just LSU's pitching, but LSU's bullpen. Because it's going to be hard for LSU to score. Now, in that vein, and we'll wrap up with this, in that vein, LSU offensively this year, it's been the complete game that's eluded them. The timely hit, right? We talked about that earlier. What LSU has done well largely over the course of this season is hit starters. Jack Caglione, Carter Holton, and Javen Pimentel notwithstanding. Every other guy on your schedule, they've hit well. They've had a great plan, a great approach, and they've executed it. The problem has been when they've gotten into teams' bullpens. So if LSU's bullpen versus A&M's lineup is 1A for me this weekend, LSU's lineup versus A&M's bullpen is 1B. Because Ryan Prager's been very good. He's a high pitchability guy on Friday night. Fastball being into the low to mid 90s. Won't sit there. Will probably sit more low 90s. And he throws a lot of strikes. Just high pitchability guy. But even he's been able to be got at points this year. Florida did a number on him. Justin Lampkin, who handcuffed LSU last year for 4 1/3 in relief and really took off with his season, has struggled this year. He was great against Georgia. They put him in the midweek, let him get an out, and then put him back into the rotation, and he shoved against a great Georgia lineup. But before that, he hadn't made it out of the 4th inning and was giving up 4, 5, 6 earned runs in his starts. It's gettable. Tanner Jones, who they took out of the rotation, but I fully expect to start Game 3 if they don't use him prior, has an ERA of 6.75. The interesting thing is A&M has won all but one of his starts. And the reason is because their bullpen is incredible. That's where the jump has come for A&M's pitching staffs in the bullpen. So when I look at LSU's lineup against their starter, I see opportunity. Maybe not a lot against Prager, but there's some there. But I see opportunity against Lampkin and whomever else they might throw in Game 3. Still think it might be Tanner Jones. But their bullpen has been shut down, and you've struggled hitting bullpens. Can you do it? Can you get the timely hit? If your pitching keeps you in it, can you get a timely hit off of their bullpen? That's 1A, 1B. That's what decides this series. It's not can LSU outslug A&M, because the answer is no, they can't. But can they limit that offense enough and come up with a big hit to steal one game, which I think they can. And depending on which game you steal, can you steal the series? Not likely, but can you? Bullpen for LSU and LSU's offense against A&M's bullpen. It all comes down to that for me this weekend. We'll give you a final pick before we get out of here on the series for LSU and A&M, so stick around for that. Right now, we'll grab a break. Come back on the other side. Some more praise for Taliese Fuaga. We'll let you hear it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. That's right. Darren James has launched a new group, LPT Realty, which will give so many expanded resources to you, the homeowner, as you're selling your home. Darren James will have increased access to communication and so many other resources to help sell your home for the highest dollar possible. So you're matching and marrying here the number one realtor in the state of Louisiana. Wall Street Journal's lists the top 1% of realtors in America, and a new company that's growing at an exponential rate that's going to give you expanded resources. I want to also mention, if you are a realtor or are thinking about getting your realtor's license, you need to call Darren James and learn about LPT Realty. Their structure and how they're allowing the realtor to keep more commissions is something that could change your life. Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their #1 product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes a dollar from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take a dollar until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
All right, back here on a Friday edition of After Further Review. Musso filling in for Moscona. We missed it in the first hour. Let's go ahead and do it now. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart got paid. 2-year extension for Kirby at Georgia, now the highest paid head coach in college football. Seth Emerson from The Athletic, the first to report it. Deal will pay, it's a $1.75 million raise, so the annual salary is now $13 million per year. The bonuses are up to $1.5 million. Again, making him the highest paid coach in college football. Kirby Smart, of course, 94-16 so far in his time at Georgia. He's been to 3 college football playoff national championships, won 2 of them in back-to-back years. Not only did Kirby Smart get a raise, but Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks got a new deal. Seth Emerson also reporting this. Brooks got a 1-year extension, so his contract now runs through 2030. Annual salary of $1.275 million, increasing by $100,000 each year. His bonuses are up to $200K. They're throwing money around in Athens.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Isaiah Hamilton had planned to take a visit to Alabama. Instead, Friday morning, the Houston cornerback transfer scrapped those plans and committed to Ole Miss. As a junior, started all 12 games for the Cougars. All 12 of them at cornerback as well. 50 tackles, 3.5 for a loss, and 1 forced fumble. Also had 4 interceptions. He will now play his football for Lane Kiffin.
The Florida Gators.
2025 defensive lineman Jeremiah McLeod has committed to Billy Napier and the Florida Gators, a 3-star out of Gadsden County, Florida. He is ranked as the 459 overall prospect, the number 64 player in Florida. Decommitted for Mississippi State back on April 21st, now pledges to the Gators.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And ULM wide receiver Darion Wiley has committed to Vanderbilt. Started his career at UMass where he played sparingly, then transferred over to ULM. Caught 40 balls for 534 yards and 3 touchdowns last season. Was a 3-star prospect out of high school, number 1,828 overall recruit in the class of 2019, now a Vanderbilt Commodore. That is around the SEC. Here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We've talked an awful lot this week about Saints first-round pick Taliese Fuaga. I gave my thoughts. Matt gave his thoughts. We had his offensive line coach, his college offensive line coach, on the show yesterday, Coach Jim Mahalchek, who was awesome. Recommend you go listen to that interview on the After Further Review Saints YouTube channel if you missed it. But now there's more praise coming for Taliese Fuaga. And it's pretty high praise from a guy who knows what he's talking about. Jason Kelsey was on his New Heights podcast that he hosts, obviously, with his brother Travis, and unprompted had this to say about the Saints' first-round pick.
There's like some guys that even when they're just playing the highlight on draft day, you can like be like, oh, yeah. Like there was a tackle, got picked early out of Oregon State, and I saw like one pass set, and I was like,
oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. And then I saw him just completely demoralizing people after that. And I was like, God damn, this dude is a fucking beast. Taliese Fuaga. Holy shit. You see like the balance and like the way their hips open up? Like,
I know exactly what you're saying. I said the same thing. I'm pretty sure whoever drafted him thought the exact same thing when they saw him.
Yeah, I don't even know who drafted him, but I just remember when it was like, da-na-na, and then they started showing his highlights. I was like, fuck yes. And I saw his face. I was like, I met that guy in Philadelphia. He was cool as shit too.
Jason Kelsey's the best, by the way. But that's a ringing endorsement from a guy who's going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Like, we all agree Jason Kelsey's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame at some day. He knows a little bit about offensive line play, 7-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. That, an unprompted, ringing endorsement. I don't know how you can't just be any more excited. Like, every time something like this happens with Taliese Fuaga, it just gets you even more hyped up. At this point, I don't care if he plays left tackle or right tackle. Just get the guy out there. Like Jim Nagy, when he met with the Saints media after, because Fuaga was a stud at the Senior Bowl, and Nagy's the executive director, said he's going to be a Pro Bowler. Said he's a slam dunk day one starter and is going to be a Pro Bowler. And now you've got a guy like Jason Kelsey saying that. And he wasn't done. He went on to make an on-the-record prediction for Fuanga's career.
I have seen that before, those exact movements and the way it anatomically looks. And for some reason, he was one guy where I had watched zero tape and I only saw the highlight tapes on draft day. And I was like, damn, I like the way that pass set looks. I like the way he's redirecting. I like the way he's finishing. I mean, very limited sample size, but I feel pretty confident that dude's going to be a beast. I don't know. Well, I'm going on record.
Dude's going to be a beast. Bring it on, man. I cannot wait. Let's go. I want to see him play for the Saints right now. So, I mean, what a ringing endorsement from a guy who, again, future Pro Football Hall of Famer, Travis Kelce, just singing the praises. When he just said, admittedly, haven't seen much tape. Just saw his highlights on the draft, and no one ever looks bad in their highlights, right? I get it. But to listen to him just immediately be able to break down, all the feet, the way his hips opened, all that, man, the Saints feel like they have a dog in Taliese Fuaga. So let's get him out there on the field. And they're not far from getting out on the field. Earlier this week, the Saints announced the next steps in their offseason program. Obviously, the next check mark is rookie minicamp. That gets underway on May 10th. It'll run through May 12th. And then from there, you go into OTAs, organized team activities. Those will be May 21st through the 23rd, the 28th through the 30th, and June 3rd through June 6th. And then you have mandatory minicamp, y'all, June 11th through 13th. Before you know it, the Saints will be taking off for California, right? Is that where they're going? This California for training camp? I almost said the Greenbrier, but we're not doing that anymore. Out in SoCal for training camp, and it'll be here before you know it. So, Taliese Fuaga, slam dunk day one starter per Jim Nagy, beast per Jason Kelce. Also, when I was cutting that sound earlier and editing it to take out the curse words, the line of him saying, I think he said Taliese, Jason, come on. Or just Tali. When he said his name and then followed it up with holy bleep, I laughed at that probably about 4 or 5 times. Paul shares an office with me. He can attest to that. I replayed it and laughed. It struck my funny bone. Thought it was funny. So let's get him out there, man. I'm ready to see it. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on to the other side. Wrap up hour number 2 with Tigers and the Pros next here on AFR.
AFR.
If you're a business owner, you're going through the hiring rat race, and it's just been tough, especially since COVID. It's been that way for a lot of businesses in basically every different industry. Finding qualified people that can or want to work that will stay. If you've had those issues, you need Glow Resources. Glow Resources is not a last resort. They're not a temp staffing agency. Glow Resources works for you, the business owner. And they want to grow that relationship to where you have longevity with them. At Glow Resources, when they place one of their employees within your company, they have a 93% retention rate. And if for whatever reason the employee that they hire for you doesn't work out within 60 days, they'll find you a new employee for free or give you a prorated refund. It's Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. We're headed toward the weekend, so if you're in the market for a vehicle, make sure Volkswagen is on your list. Let me remind you, if you're a college student, South Point Volkswagen offers you $500 off any purchase. So just to start, boom, you're in college, here's $500 off just to get started. Great opportunity right now with 1.9% APR for 60 months or a $3,000 customer bonus on selected new models. Great deals always. Check them out at southpointvw.com. You can work out your financing online. It's all there for you at the website. Search the entire inventory and then go test drive one at Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
All right, wrapping up hour number 2 here on After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Let's do it. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
A lot of new homes for the former Tigers now in the NFL. Let's run through them. Odell Beckham Jr., well, he ended up in Miami after all. You might remember a few weeks ago we went through Tyreek Hill's tweet where he just, confirmed it that Odell Beckham was coming to Miami, and Odell had to come out and say, I haven't signed anything yet. I think Odell's exact tweet was, did I sign somewhere? Now, looks like Tyreek Hill's sources were correct. It's a 1-year deal for Odell Beckham Jr. in Miami with the Dolphins, worth up to $8.25 million. 31 years old now, Beckham. He appeared in 14 games with 6 starts for the Baltimore Ravens last season after missing 2022 due to the torn ACL. Remember, he suffered that in the Super Bowl. 35 passes, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the regular season. Had 4 catches and 34 grabs in the postseason for the Ravens, now a member of the Miami Dolphins. DJ Chark entered free agency, veteran wide receiver, new home for him, Los Angeles with the Chargers. Not bad. 1-year deal for Chark, worth up to $5 million. Pro Bowler in 2019. That was his second season and also his only 1,000-yard campaign. Last year for the Panthers, 525 yards in 15 games. He joins Ladd McConkey and Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson as draft picks. It's 4 wide receivers. Now the the Los Angeles Chargers. Hester would be so proud of me for that. The Los Angeles Chargers have added since the first round of the draft. And then Deion Jones. He is now a member of the Buffalo Bills, veteran linebacker, 29 years old, spent last season with the Carolina Panthers as well, played in 13 games, 3 of those starts, 38% of the defensive snaps he played. Of course, had great success with the Falcons, was a second-round pick of them and a Pro Bowler in his 6 seasons in Atlanta. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with some Major League Baseball. Aaron Nola will be on the bump tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. 4-1 so far in the season is Nola with an ERA of 3.20. You're looking at 39 and a third innings pitched for the former Tiger, just 11 walks and 36 punch-outs. Phillies have been scoring some runs for him. The Phils quietly 21-11 as well. Normally it had been slow regular seasons, dominant runs at the end, and good postseasons for the Philadelphia Phillies. But Aaron Nola back on the bump, looking for win number 5 against the San Francisco Giants, who made the trip down from Fenway Park. That is Tigers in the Pros. It's how we wrap up every hour number 2 here on After Further Review every day of the week that we're on air. And now we will hit a break. When we come back, we will get you a look at the college baseball weekend, give you our picks. Ben Mintz going to join the show, of course, from Barstool Sports. And we still have our chat with Rico Payton, undrafted rookie cornerback out of Pittsburgh State. Saints signed him, and we'll chat with him at 5:15. So right now, break, Sports Center, national headlines, and then Ben Mintz. Do want to circle back to the defensive tackle conversation as well in the third hour for the LSU Tigers as they await news there. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Evermore, all natural, great tasting water. When you uncap a bottle of Evermore, that's the first time the product touches air. It's incredible. It's a natural well. It's natural artesian water. It's a well. It's on the North Shore. I went to their bottling facility. When you pull up on the left, you'll see the well is right there. They've drilled deep into the earth. They pipe it out right into their filters and their filtration system. Nothing is added. Nothing is extracted. It is completely pure from the earth water. So if you want a healthier option, if you want a healthier lifestyle, something healthier for your children, maybe you're an athlete that wants a superior form of hydration, Evermore, EVAMOR. If you notice, go to their website, you'll see Dak Prescott is one of their chief spokespeople. I mean, starting NFL quarterback is vouching for it. Check it out at great local retailers or order on their website at EVAMOR.com, Evermore.com, Evermore.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Lakers fire head coach Darvin Ham after just 2 years on the job. ESPN's Dave McMenamin reports the rest of Ham's coaching staff was also fired. The Lakers were knocked out of the playoffs by the Nuggets in Ham's 2 seasons, this year in the first round. Our Adrian Wojnarowski says the Lakers' job is still a desirable one.
The Lakers are still the Lakers, and they have the opportunity this summer to really improve this team. They've got 3 picks that they can use in trades. And, Darvin Ham, his successor, will be the beneficiary.
Adrian Wojnarowski. Tonight, we've got a playoff doubleheader on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern with Game 6 for the Magic and Cavaliers, Cleveland leading 3-2. Then it's Game 6 for the Clippers and Mavericks with Dallas up 3-2. Coverage of that one also here on ESPN Radio starting at 9 Eastern. And there's a pair of 6 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Canucks and Predators in Nashville, Vancouver up 3-2. Stars and Golden Knights in Las Vegas with Dallas up 3-2.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Studio 2 at the worldwide headquarters of ESPN. And this is Freddie.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
All right, welcome in. Hour number 3 of After Further Review. Musso filling in for Moscona. Jordan, do me a favor. Let's call Mintz. Let's just call him. Make sure we can get it. We're going to be joined by Ben Mintz here momentarily. Get you our college baseball picks. Obviously, it's what we do here at this at this time of the day. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to let Mintzy know that we were going to go ahead and give him a call. Paul, I guess you can bring the graphic up right now while we wait to get Ben on the phone. So Scone's at Jazz Fest. So we're not going to give him 0-3. That's not how we're doing this. But he did go 3-0. He's 11-6-1. Had a really good week. I went 1-2. I'm at 7-8. That's not great. Mincy though 3-0, man. Big week for our guy Mincy. He's at 9-9. So Scone's at Jazz Fest. So we'll just give him a bye week. It'll be an idle week for Scone, and Mincy and I'll kind of go head to head here. Do we have him, Jordan? Yeah, we have him. Oh, okay, all right. So we'll get connected with Ben here momentarily, and then in the next segment, Rico Payton, undrafted rookie cornerback from the Saints, is going to join us in the next segment. So we got Ben. Mincy, how are you? Mincy, are you there? All right, there we go. I got you now. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going good. So Moscona at Jazz Fest today, huh?
Yeah, he's seeing Foo Fighters. You were there yesterday, right?
I was. The Rolling Stones thing was unbelievable. It was my favorite Jazz Fest show I've ever seen. It was that good.
Yeah, I mean the crowd. I saw the pictures of the crowd on there. It's incredible that they hadn't ever played it before. So I mean, I'm sure they went all out. Mincy, you went 3-0 last week in this. We feeling good about that?
It's about damn time, I kind of dug myself a hole. I dug myself a hole. Had to play some catch up. So going to try to build on the momentum this week. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Obviously, huge series for LSU, getting A&M at home this weekend. And, we're going to try to get them. So we're 3-0 and trying to redeem myself and catch up on that.
All right. Well, Scone is at 11-6-1 right now. He went 3-0. So we'll just give him a bye week here, and hopefully we take advantage of it a little bit, Mincy. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and get right into it, Jordan, if you will, the open here, and we can start our picks. It should have been there. It should be in the There it is.
It's time to cash some tickets. Let's preview the college baseball weekend with Ben Mintz and Barstool Sports, presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook.
All right, Mincy, you want to get us started?
Let's do it. So I've been going to this well every single Friday, and I've won easily. And it's just if Hagen Smith is pitching for Arkansas, I bet the under every week. And it's down to 8.5 in Arkansas, Kentucky, because the line makers are finally realizing every time he pitches it's 3-1. But I'm still going under. I think he's the best pitcher in the country, and I'm going under 8.5 Arkansas, Kentucky. I think I'm like 4-0 on these Arkansas unders on Friday. I mean, they win every week.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I was looking at a mock draft earlier. He was like the 7th overall pick. I'm like, that actually might be low. He has been incredible. That's a really interesting series too, man. Kentucky kind of needs that one. They've hit the skids down at the great start, and they've lost their first 2 to start the back half, and now they have Arkansas. That's a big one. All right, I'm going to go to the Big 12. And you know what? This might bite me, but I went against Texas last week on Friday night. That hit, but then they came back and won that series against a hot Oklahoma team. Now they're at home. They're a home underdog. I'll go with Texas. I'm believing in the momentum a little bit here. So give me Texas on the money line plus $1.14 against Oklahoma State.
All right. My next one, I'm going to Starkville, Mississippi. Big series between Bama and Mississippi State. I'm going over 11 here. I know Friday night over is not normally the play, but Mississippi State's got a really good lineup this year, and I think 11's too low for a game to do.
I'll go ahead and give my SEC pick now, too. Going with Auburn and Ole Miss in that game. I know most people look at it like it's the pillow fight at the bottom of the league, but it is significant, definitely around Oxford, Mississippi, and definitely around Baton Rouge, Louisiana. People are going to be watching that. LSU fans need Auburn to win that series, so I might be going a little bit on that route with my heart, but I am going to take Auburn as the home favorite, minus $1.45.
I can't fault you because I've watched Ole Miss play on the road this year, and I will not be taking Ole Miss. We'll put it that way. So I don't blame you. I'm actually going to kind of shock everybody in Baton Rouge here. I'm taking LSU plus 145 as the home dog tonight.
Let's go.
I just think this is a big series. I've said it all along. I know LSU's record's bad, but I don't think they're that bad. And plus 145 is just too good of a price. And I know A&M's had a great year and they really hit, but I don't think they've got an elite Friday night pitcher. So I think plus 145 is too big a price.
It's kind of like some of my reasoning with Texas too, Mincy, where it's like Texas is in a position that they're not used to. They're fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. It's like you got 3 weeks left. You need the sense of urgency, and home dog in that spot kind of looks good. So I love the pick. I mean, anyone who wants to throw bouquets to LSU right now, I'm gonna take them all day, every day. Final one for me. We'll go to the Big Ten, Ohio State and Illinois. The Big Ten is just not a good baseball conference at all. It's actually pretty horrendous, and you're looking at a total of 13 in that one. So I'm gonna go under, because it's bad baseball. And for that reason, me throwing stones, they'll probably score like 20 combined runs tonight. but I'm going under 13 in Ohio State and Illinois.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll catch some ground. Interesting series this week. How do you feel? I know y'all probably already discussed LSU A&M a ton on the show, but as you said, I'm fascinated to see what kind of sense of urgency LSU is going to play with here. Because I feel, like I said, I've been saying this all year about them. I know they had a bad record, the tough schedule and stuff, but I swear I don't think they're that bad. I know they're not good, but I don't know. I'm not ready to bury them quite yet, even with the record with that.
Yeah, it's been a really odd year, man, because everyone thought the pitching would be the strength going in, and it should have been, and it wasn't. And the offense was slow to come together as everyone thought it would be. It's actually still slow right now, and I think they just are going to be that on offense this year, which is odd. But now the pitching is starting to come around a little bit. I think they can get one this weekend, Mincy. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that LSU can steal it. I mean, if they would, that'd be awesome. The thing that I've been trying to get across is LSU, I don't believe they can get to 13 conference wins in the regular season. So regardless, they're going to have to make hay in the SEC tournament at some point. What they can't do is get swept on their home field this weekend. They do that, and it changes things just dramatically. But, yeah, man, it's been a shock. It definitely was a shock to watch them go out the gates the way that they did, because I'm with you. I think they have plenty of talent. They're better than their record. It's just at some point you also are what your record says you are.
Yeah, that's right. It's weird. It's been an odd deal. They just got buried with that tough schedule early, and I know they've been slow to recover. What other series? Arkansas, Kentucky, you said fascinating. I agree. Kentucky, look, we all know about the hot start. They're 14-1. They played a cream puff war schedule, though, early. I mean, we all kind of thought they regressed to the mean a little bit, and now they've been playing a little tougher schedule. You know, we saw it happen in South Carolina last week. I mean, I'm not totally shocked. I think they're a good baseball team. They're not some team that's going to go 25-5 in Texas, you know? No,
they aren't. And, I mean, that's a huge one. Them getting it at home, I think, is big. Arkansas hasn't been the best on the road. I mean, they went to Alabama and lost that series to the Tide in Tuscaloosa. So, that's obviously an interesting one there. I kind of like the one that you brought up that you made a play on with State and Alabama. I think that's a fascinating weekend series as well, because State is right on the bubble of the hosting conversation right now. Like, it's been incredible the turnaround that's happened there, and Alabama was in that conversation. If they can beat State on the road, they get back into that hosting conversation. So that one's fascinating to me too.
Yeah, no, State has bounced back, and Chris Lemonis was catching a lot of heat going into this year after the two terrible years after they won the title, and seems like they've redeemed it a little bit. So, good for them.
Mincy, I thought Chris Lemonis was going to have to start looking for a house. Now he's just maybe deciding which pin he's going to use to sign an extension. I mean, it's been wild. But good on him. I mean, good on him. Me, I'd prefer State to be bad, but, good on him.
as I always would have done.
Of course, absolutely. All right, Mincy. Well, look, man, good luck. We appreciate it. How much longer are you in Louisiana for?
Till Sunday night. I took it easy today. It was dude, it's funny getting older. Like, it was raining earlier, and I was like, oh, then I'm not going. I'm turning into an old man. And now the weather's nice, and I'm not out there, but I'm playing the Harris $500 poker tournament tomorrow, and I'm going to go see Joe Russo's Almost Dead at Fillmore, and I'm doing the festival Jazz Fest Sunday. And then I've been catching it. I don't know if you've been following it. I've had a really crazy people questioning my work ethic this week at work. I mean, shameful stuff. But then, Musso, I'll just tell you the truth. I think I view Barstool differently than everyone else. My job is to get viral and get big clicks, and that's what I do.
That's true.
So, I did a 1 million view video at House of Blues doing that Havana Gala, and then played that government basketball game the other night. And I don't know, man. I feel like I'm getting, like, I don't know. I feel I'm getting, they're just, there's much to do about nothing.
Yeah, man. They hired you off a viral video. This is what they expected, right? I mean, come on now.
I got to give them something to talk about in the office on Tuesday and Wednesday.
There you go, Mincy. Hey, man, have a great weekend and safe travels back up to Chicago. We'll do it again next week. All right.
Yep. Get them. All right, thanks.
All right, man. That's been Mintz, Barstool Sports, with us every week here during college baseball season. We're giving y'all some picks. Paul, I'm sorry, I forgot to write down Mincy's picks. You asked me to, and I didn't do it. I apologize. All right, we're gonna grab a break. Come back on the other side. Saints undrafted rookie. Free agent cornerback Rico Payton. He joins the show next on AFR.
AFR.
With Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, they wish the Saints good luck tonight. Who dat, as always. But remember, Rouse's, a great family-owned business that has grown to almost unimaginable heights as they've expanded here. They've been in business for 100 years. Been helping you make groceries for 60 of those years. It's a great opportunity, man, to get by Rouse's for whatever it is you're looking for. You want to swing by, pick up dinner tonight for the family? Rouse's. Everybody wants something different? No worries. If you want, fried chicken and French fries, they got it. If you want sushi, they got it. If you want a grab and go, sort of Asian bowl, like I love their teriyaki, their chicken and beef fried rice teriyaki bowls. They're awesome. You want to buy something there at the seafood market, you can do it at Rouse's. Throw a tuna steak on the grill at the house, whatever it is. You want to get some ice cold beer, some fine and fun wines, they got it at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Back here on AFR, had a lot of the Saints undrafted rookies on here so far the last few days in the wake of the draft, and we're joined by another one. This is going to be Rico Payton, defensive cornerback out of Pittsburgh State, signed an undrafted rookie deal with the Saints. Good enough to join us now. He's on Twitter at Rico_Payton1, Payton, if y'all want to give him a follow. Rico, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Excited to be here and just blessed for the opportunity. Appreciate your time as well.
Absolutely, man. Look, we're happy to have you on. And look, congratulations, obviously, here for the opportunity with the New Orleans Saints. I kind of want to start there. Just how, you go through the draft, day 3 ends, and then bam, you're with the New Orleans Saints. So kind of how did that process come together after the draft came and went?
Yeah, so for me personally, I kind of let my agent just handle those things. I told him before the draft actually that if the Saints were to call and offer us, that I felt like that was
Rico. Rico, your phone broke up a little bit there. I didn't want to miss the answer. You said you had a conversation with your agent that if the Saints contacted, and then your phone broke out.
Okay, one second.
Wait, Rico, are you there? Do we have him still? Jordan, here, hold on. And see if he's there, because I can't hear him. Chatting with Rico Payton here, undrafted rookie for the New Orleans Saints, cornerback out of Pittsburgh State. Just having a little bit of trouble with the phone. Let's see if we can get a better connection with him. He was going through the process of, the Saints, and was talking about. We have him, Jordan. Okay, Rico, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect. Sorry about that, man. Your phone. You were saying you were letting your agent handle it, and then if the Saints had called, and then your phone cut out.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm in the facility. I just got done working out, so the connection's kind of bad. But I was just saying that I had told my agent prior to the draft that the Saints were kind of like my top team after just talking to a few teams, going on some business, and I was excited to get that call from them.
What made the Saints your top team?
I would just say the 30 visit went really well. I like the scheme that the Saints play, and I just like the players that they have in the secondary as well.
How many teams reached out to you?
I would say during the entire process, we had quite a few teams just talking to us from starting in the season, coming to watch practice. After pro day, things kind of started to pick up. And then, obviously, I went on an official visit with the Patriots as well. So quite a few teams reached out to us.
I want to come back to the Saints conversation a little bit in a little bit, Rico. I do want to talk about your journey in college as well. So you're out of St. Louis, Missouri. You start your career at Southern Illinois with the Salukis, play 1 year, and then transfer to Pittsburgh State. Kind of what went into the decision to transfer and go to Pittsburgh State?
Yes, sir. So ultimately, I just did my redshirt freshman year at SIU. I was actually just recovering from an injury that I had, so I never played there. But my assistant cornerback coach, Corey Lindsey, he's actually from Louisiana, so it's funny to see how everything came full circle. But he was a good coach to me, a great mentor, and when he told me he was getting a job at Pittsburgh State, I decided to follow him.
Where would you say your game developed the most in your time with the Gorillas at Pittsburgh State? Great mascot, by the way.
Yes, sir. You already know, one of the best in the country, in my opinion.
I agree.
But I would just say, so for me, college was actually kind of wild. I ended up having a different corners coach every year that I was in college. So I had about 5 or 6 cornerbacks coaches. So I took a piece of their game from every single one of them. I tried to just pick their brain, watch as much film as possible with those guys, learn their favorite techniques, how they feel about certain things, and, just gathered all their information. And now I am who I am because of all of those guys.
So you mentioned the Saints, Rico, when you talked about the fit. And
yes, sir.
The Saints, obviously, look, you played a lot of outside cornerback at Pittsburgh State. The Saints are a team that love press man coverage. How do you fit? What is it about the fit that makes it work for you in New Orleans?
Well, exactly what you just said. In college, about 90% of the time I was in press man, which I know how to play off man as well, but I feel like press man is one of my strengths. And on top of just being able to play in the slot or outside, like you said, the Saints have a lot of talent in the secondary, so I just want to get in where I can fit in and be able to be versatile and play both.
We're talking with Rico Payton, undrafted rookie free agent cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. Rico, you also mentioned earlier that there were a lot of guys in the Saints secondary that you liked, the players that you liked. Have you heard from anybody yet?
No, I haven't heard from anybody yet, but I'm sure once I get around those guys and earn some respect on the team, that those will be conversations in the future.
Veteran group, man. But they've had a great propensity for young players to step up early in that secondary over the last few years, whether it be Paulson Adebo or Alante Taylor. What would you say is the biggest strength of your game?
I would just say the biggest strength of my game is, I would just say, my versatility. As a corner, I pride myself on being able to get off blocks. Like I said, I can play inside as well, so I pride myself on being able to blitz and being a physical tackler in the run game as well.
So that is something that you would be comfortable playing in the slot. Have you played in the slot before?
Yes, sir. So at Pittsburgh State, I play mostly outside, but I have some experience playing in the slot as well.
All righty, man. That's awesome. Good. So you versatility. Hey, that goes a long way in the NFL. Rico Payton is our guest. A few more for you, Rico. Your time very much appreciated, man. You mentioned the top 30 visit going great. Was that your first trip to New Orleans?
Yes, sir. That was actually my first trip to New Orleans. I had heard a lot about it because, like I said, I've had my first cornerbacks coach actually from out there. I like some different musical artists out there, and just heard a lot of good things about it. I heard the food was really good, so looking forward to trying some of that as well.
All right, you brought up the musical artist, and I had this. When I was looking up some stuff on you, I found an interview with one of your old teammates at Pittsburgh State. He said you're one of the guys to hand the aux cord to. So if you're one of the guys to hand the aux cord to, Rico, I got to know what's on the playlist, man.
Yes, sir. So one of my favorite artists, his name is NBA Youngboy, and he's from Baton Rouge in Louisiana. So I would say I play him quite a lot, and I just try to mix it up. You know, I play a lot of R&B. I play a lot of rap as well. Just, you know, try to get the right vibe depending on what's going on.
Hey, man, I don't know if you've seen the social media. The Saints locker room can get pretty turned up whenever they win a game. They have the strobe lights going and the music. They might need you for the aux at that point, man. They do it big after wins down there in New Orleans. So that's I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. He might be the guy for Club Dub. They got Club Dub going on down there after wins. Rico Payton with us. So wait, now got to get this one in. I'm sure you've been asked before. You mentioned the food. Did you go to? You had to have gone to dinner on the 30 visit. What'd you eat?
Yeah, so I actually can't even remember exactly what the place was called, but it was a seafood place. I tried oysters for the first time. They weren't as bad as I thought they would be. They were pretty decent, so I'll have to get down there and try some more of the best seafood places and get some recommendations for you guys. Hey man, there's plenty to try down in New Orleans. That is for sure. Rico Payton here with us, Saints undrafted rookie free agent cornerback out of Pittsburgh State. Rico, we appreciate your time, man. Best of luck. Congratulations again, and hopefully we can do it again soon when you get down here to New Orleans, all right? Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Absolutely. Thank you. That is Rico Payton, Saints undrafted rookie cornerback. Y'all can follow him on Twitter at Rico_Payton, Payton. We got, and we kind of run through these undrafted rookies here on AFR. We have a few more coming up on Monday, too. If you're interested, let's see. We've had Kyle Hergel. We had Sincere Haynesworth, Trajan Jeffcoat. And then on Monday, Kyle Sheets. He's a wide receiver from Slippery Rock. It's a Division II college up in the Northeast. He's going to join the show. And then also Kyler Ball will join the show as well. So we have two more interviews with the undrafted rookies coming up next week, and see if we can get a few more, man. So they've been gracious with their time. They've all been great. And they've all come at really interesting positions. I mean, I know on Monday's show, we talked a lot about Dallin Holker, the tight end, as a guy to really watch. And I know Matt mentioned him yesterday as well. But, I mean, you look at a guy like Rico Payton, and we kind of talked about it there a little bit. I mean, the versatility that he has, that's huge. Like, to be able to play inside out, that's massive because, look, the Saints, while the secondary has been a big strength of theirs with Marshawn Lattimore, and, I mean, of course, Marcus Williams, Marcus May all before that, and Malcolm Jenkins, now Tyrann Mathieu, you had Jack Rabbit at a time. Like, they've run great cornerbacks and safeties through here, but you've also, and it's been veteran after veteran after veteran, but you've also seen a guy like Paulson Adebo step up really early. Alontae Taylor, the same thing. And when you had the injuries last year, Isaac Adams. So there are a ton of opportunity
for playing time in that Saints secondary. And a guy like Rico Payton, who's got good length. I mean, he's 6 foot, 182 pounds, and earned All-American honors at Pittsburgh State. That's a guy who you look at and go, man, there's opportunity there. And for his versatility, the motor that he's got, special teams. I didn't get into it there, but just, and looking some stuff up about him, special teams is a place he's played too. And everyone knows that's the best way to make an NFL roster, right? Is being able to play special teams. So he's one to definitely keep an eye on. Long, rangy guy, a lot of press man. I mean, he fits exactly the mold that the Saints want. And if he can get in there, make the roster, make a practice squad, who knows what's going to happen with Marshawn Lattimore in the future. Like, there's a spot for him potentially in New Orleans. I'm fired up to see what Rico Payton can do. Enjoyed the chat too, man. He was a lot of fun. If he makes the team, they got to get him on that aux cord for Club Dub there in the locker room. And hopefully there's a few more parties in Club Dub this year than there were last for the New Orleans Saints. All right, we're gonna grab a break, but first we do have to hit a live here. Matt's gonna tell you about the Williamson Eye Center.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right. We're going to grab a break here, come back on the other side. Get the very latest, see if there any news has popped around LSU, the transfer portal. I know everyone's still officially waiting on the decision, from Simeon Barrow. So we will get to that here as we go to close out AFR, and still have to give you an official prediction for the weekend series between LSU and Texas A&M. We went through the series preview earlier, but a couple more thoughts. I've seen a couple questions kind of pop up in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat and on Twitter as well. So I'll answer a few of those, and we'll get you a pick officially on the series before we get out of here. It's Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. Stick around.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Back here, Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Musso in for Moscona. A couple segments left here in our work week, and then you'll send you off into the weekend. And it's a busy one around here as well. I mean, highlighted no doubt by LSU welcoming in Texas A&M, the number 1 team in the country, to the box for 3 games. So we'll get you a final pick on that before we get out of here today. Did want to circle back a little bit to the conversation we had to open up the show today, and that was LSU in the transfer portal looking for defensive tackle. As of now, we still wait the official word for Simeon Barrow. He is now the top uncommitted defensive tackle in the portal, although all signs right now point towards him choosing the Miami Hurricanes. LSU last night received word that they missed on Damonic Williams, transfer defensive tackle from TCU. Those 2 guys are the top prospects that were uncommitted. Williams obviously now is committed to Oklahoma in the portal, and LSU is in heavily on them. Damonic Williams was on campus this past Monday, and Tuesday was his final visit, and all accounts looked like that was going to be an LSU-Texas battle. Things change in this era, right? And he ends up at Oklahoma. So you have 2 teams, hat in hand, they're like, oh, what happened? I mean, when he had to visit to Texas, it changed his schedule. They looked like the front runner. But LSU got his last visit, and that's a massive, massive, feather in the cap. We talk about that all the time in recruiting, whether it's a high school guy or out of the transfer portal, getting that last visit, having the chance to make the final impression. That's massive. But you missed. Then all eyes turn to Simeon Barrow, who was on his final visit earlier this week at Miami. And LSU going into that looked like the team to beat. And now, as we said at the start, all signs point to Miami. So they missed on Damonic Williams. If they miss on Simeon Barrow, the word I would use to describe LSU's situation at defensive tackle is dire. It was already the biggest need. We knew that. Brian Kelly went on record during spring or after the spring game and said the only position they're targeting in the transfer portal is the defensive tackle position. Now, they've since offered a cornerback, or they've since targeted a cornerback, but the only position they were after was defensive tackle. And they went with big swings, as they should. They felt they had the NIL in order, all of that. They went big fish hunting, just like they did last year, and they came up empty. They felt better this time. So far, nothing. You miss on both. Where do you go next? That's the question, right? Because you have Jacoby and Guillory, who's appeared in 39 games with a handful of starts. He started your opener last year against Florida State when Mason Smith was suspended. So you feel good there. That's another thing Brian Kelly's going on record. We've played that clip on this show plenty of times where, in terms of stopping the run, Jacoby and Guillory has been fantastic. He goes on to talk about his development and then at the end says, but we're searching for that other guy. Who is the other guy? You were hoping you could get a bona fide starter day one who could come in and help you out of the portal like a Damonic Williams. That does not look like it's going to happen right now. So behind Jacoby and Guillory, you're looking at Jalen Lee. Jalen Lee was a 4-star prospect out of Live Oak, went to Florida, transferred back home, but has just played sparingly at both Florida and at LSU. They get Sean Washington out of junior college. Warren Easton guy, signed with Georgia out of high school. So the talent is there for the prospect. Didn't really hear much about him in spring. Gio Paez, the one guy you've gotten out of the transfer portal so far from Wisconsin, didn't go through spring with you. He's still graduating up in Madison. He'll be here, for the summer. But is that your day one guy? Doesn't seem like it. Seems like that's more of a rotational piece. And he'll contribute, and he's a great player, and it's his 5th year, and you're all for it. But you need that other guy behind Jacoby and Guillory, and right now you don't have it. And now you've swung and missed. For whatever the reason. I'm less interested in the reason. Like, people can complain about NIL, you can complain about it. I'm less interested in the reason. I'm interested in the fact that you missed. And all eyes are going to be on your defense this year, needing to improve, and all eyes specifically on defensive tackle because it's your thinnest spot. So yeah, I would look at that and say dire. So where do they go? Well, there's some options we can go through. The first one, we'll go through 3. Only one of them has an LSU offer, and that's CJ West. Now, CJ West is out of Kent State. Had a great 4-year career there, played in 39 games. You're looking at 7 sacks, over 100 tackles, 19 and a half TFLs in his career. We've been through it. LSU is one of his first offers. He's been offered by the likes of LSU, A&M, Missouri, Florida State. You've got some Big Ten teams in there as well, Wisconsin, Illinois, Rutgers. He's scheduled some Big Ten visits. So far, no visit to LSU, but he does have an offer in hand. But LSU went so heavy in on guys like Damonic Williams and Simeon Barrow, as they should have. Is it too late to circle back with a guy like CJ West? That offer came to him in mid-April. And that's a fair question to ask, because I look at him and I see a guy with all that experience and the production who could come in and contribute immediately and maybe be that day one starter. The other 2 guys we're going to go in to, they aren't that. But you need bodies. Like if you're not going to get the day one guy, you need bodies. So if it's not CJ West, if it is too late to circle back and really go full court press and get what you need out of him, get him here for a visit, where do they go? We posed this question to Shea Dixon on Tuesday when he was with us. because Shay had mentioned we went through Damonic Williams, we went through Simeon Barrow, and the word Shay used is, if you missed on one or both of those guys, LSU would need good fortune. Because defensive tackle was a popular position in the transfer portal this year, and when guys went in, everyone jumped on them. And you had some really good ones go in. Look at Walter Nolan. Good fortune. So the follow-up was, okay, who are some of those guys who would classify as good fortune? And he gave 2 names. And it's very early in the process for both of these guys. Throw that out as a disclaimer. Neither of them have an LSU offer. Neither of them have announced any offers from anyone. This is very surface level. The first guy is Aiden Huntington out of UL Monroe. Originally started his career actually at Kent State and then transferred to Monroe. And the numbers were really good. 12 games, 63 tackles, 16 TFLs, and 8.5 sacks. You look at him, though, he's undersized, 6'1", 281. It's very fair to ask, could he take the jump into the SEC? 100%. But while he's originally from Virginia, has played a year of college football in Louisiana, Brian Kelly and LSU have taken plenty of guys with Louisiana ties in the transfer portal. And if you're looking for bodies, that's a guy that is produced. That could certainly be a body. Is he your day one starter? Probably not. The other guy I would point to, and Shay mentioned him as well, is Terrell Allen from Tennessee State, FCS level. He won the Buck Buchanan Award, which is the award for the best defensive player at the FCS level. He was an All-American, 28 TFLs that led the nation, 14.5 sacks. The problem with him is he's not a defensive tackle. He's a defensive end. He's a big end, 6'1", 275, but he'd still be undersized. And could he even play defensive tackle in the SEC? Like, that's a big jump to ask. You might be asking him to do a little too much there. Go from FCS defensive end, where he was very productive, don't get me wrong, but change positions and then do it in the SEC? That's a big ask. Again, disclaimer, neither of those guys have announced any offers. Neither of those guys have been offered by LSU, but it's 2 names that we brought up earlier this week that I thought were worth mentioning again. Where does LSU go from here? That's the question. And it's the biggest question that they have to answer this offseason. That part hasn't changed. It's just gotten a little bit more dire for LSU's biggest position of need. We'll keep you posted here on AFR. You know that. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, wrap up the show, wrap up the week. We'll talk some LSU baseball, finish it off, and give you a pick on their big weekend series with Texas A&M next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, Siega near Airline, LA-16 in Dedham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Y'all, the weather is gorgeous. Spring is here. The 100-degree temps are around the corner, but not here yet. It's a great opportunity. Get a little exercise. Get a little vitamin D from the sunshine. Get out in your yard and just plant something. Clegg's can make it happen. If you need mulch or soil, they got it. Bag, bulk, no problem. If you need plants or flowers to plant, they got it. Pop a color into those patio pots or your flower beds. Clegg's can help because they have shipments arriving daily. They got a great selection and great prices and the most helpful staff. I can't imagine why you'd go anywhere else. They're convenient because they're strategically located all over town, so you're near a Clegg's no matter where you are in the greater Baton Rouge area. Their prices are great. Their people are the most friendly. Par for the course when you've been doing it for 6 decades. It's Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Roger about Michelli weighing and measurement. Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
All right, we're wrapping up Friday edition here of AFR. We do have an LSU baseball lineup. Let's run through that real quick, and there are some changes in it. Ashton Larson is going to lead off tonight and play right field. The right field part's not a change, but him leading off is first time in his career so far in this season that he has led off. Tommy White will hit second and play third. Jared Jones at first and hitting third. Josh Pearson will be in the cleanup spot and playing left field. Hayden Chervinsky, the designated hitter, and hitting fifth. Michael Braswell is at short. And in the 7 hole, in the 6 hole, Stephen Milam is in the 7 hole playing second base. Jake Brown gets the start in center field and will hit ninth. Alex Milazzo will do the catching and bat ninth. And, of course, Gage Jump is on the mound. So, a few observations. I love Larson in the leadoff spot. I liked that they put Braswell there in the midweek. But, Larson is just as, there's no downside to that option. Ashton Larson's hitting .412 in conference play. You're looking to get off to a good offensive start? Yeah, use your best conference hitter in Ashton Larson. He's going to give you a competitive at-bat, so I love that. Look, I think he's next. I think Ashton Larson is the next superstar at LSU. I've gone through it plenty. The Jake Brown play is an interesting one. Jake Brown is... The at-bats have tapered off from where they were early in the season. It's a really small sample size from an SEC play. But here's the thing. He's been a really good glove in center field when you've put him there in some mop-up duty and whatnot. You're not getting enough from Paxton Kling. You're not getting enough from Mac Bingham. Try somebody new. I'm all for it. Jake Brown's got tremendous upside. Let's see what he can do. The interesting thing that I will say about this lineup is I look at it, and there's 3 left-handed hitters in it. Larson, Pearson, and Brown. And LSU is going up against the left-hander tonight in Ryan Prager. Jay Johnson, all throughout the season, has been heavy right-handed in those lineups against lefties. So this is a deviation from the norm. This is about as many lefties as LSU can get into a lineup as well. The only difference would have been Brady Neal. But I like going with Milazzo. Milazzo came up with some clutch at-bats for you in the series against Auburn. Let's see what he can do. So I like the lineup. I like it a lot. I told y'all earlier in the show, the key to this series for me is LSU's bullpen. I think Jump and Holman will pitch well. I really do. I think when each of those guys leave the game, LSU will be in the game with a chance to win. So can the bullpen limit A&M's offense enough? Guys like Christian Little who have come on, guy like Justin Lohr, Sam Dutton, maybe Fidel Ulloa, can those guys, and you know what you can get from Griffin Herring, limit enough to where LSU can steal at least one game and potentially the series? That's the key for me. And 1A, 1B, LSU's lineup getting a clutch hit against A&M's bullpen, which is absolutely easier said than done. We'll have a full recap for you. You know that. For me, on the record prediction, I think LSU gets one. Give me A&M in the series, but I think LSU can win a game. Tigers have not gotten swept on their home field all year, and A&M has only swept 2 SEC series, and one of them was Auburn. The Vanderbilt one was very impressive. But give me LSU to take one game off of A&M here this weekend. We'll have a full recap for you, obviously, on Monday's AFR. Matt will be back on Monday. Thank you to Jordan. Thank you to Paul. We'll see y'all on Monday.
AFR. We're brought to you by Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com. You want an automatic, a Generac automatic home standby generator? Let me rephrase. Of course you do. So why should you go with Optimize? 2 reasons. Number 1, the affordability. They have financing options to fit any budget, and you get your upfront quote price, meaning whatever they quote you on site. It's not like they're going to come back later and there's going to be fees and install fees and tax. And no. Whatever that number is that they quote you, boom, that's it. Turnkey installation. When they're done, it is ready to roll if the power goes out. Number 2, that's all they do at Optimize. They're not a business, an electrical business that does 10 different things. They do one thing. They sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. They got 4 locations across the 10-12 corridor. So it doesn't matter if you're in Lake Charles, Slidell, or any point in between. They are Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com. Easy website, generatorpeople.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450